Howdy Heroes Hearth, I'm Kyle Fergusson. Today I get to sit down with Azyrite's Chromie, Chilly Mountain player. Welcome to Azyrite.
Yo, thank you, Cal. Thanks for having me. Yeah.
It's great to talk to you. This is an awesome game. Chromie is such a cool character. Just a lot of raw damage, but so much setup. It's like playing tower defense at the same time you're having to aim spells. It's a wild thing.
Yeah, for sure. It's a lot of you have a lot of control of the map with this hero. Pretty nice to play around with, especially in competitive.
But this was a bit of a surprise, or at least this season you haven't picked a Chromie so far. You kind of been on the Cassie and all that. So why was Chromie a blind first pick for Battlefield of Eternity?
Well, there's a few factors here. One is that 30k really likes to play these passive heroes. They really like to first pick Chromie or like pick her in the first rotation. So we kind of wanted to steal away from 30k. And in general, the Battlefield is one of Chromie's better maps, at least in my opinion. And my team thinks that as well. So yeah, we just went with it as first pick.
Do you think she's higher tier than something like Li Ming that Storm League players like?
It depends, because I think both of them have their place, especially on BoE. It's both S tier mages on BoE, so I'd say they are like, it's different playstyles. This is more of a passive playstyle, and Li Ming is more of a aggressive. So against other teams, we would probably look into picking Ming or something like that. But yeah, it's just depends what team we play against.
There's a lot going on already. Of course, Chromie here is picking talons faster than anybody else. But let's talk about some of the basics a little bit. When should I be auto-attacking on Chromie, and is it dangerous?
Yeah, it's you kind of want to basic attack whenever you can. She has pretty fast attack speed, so just try to get in some auto attacks when you can, between combos between your spells, to just keep up the DPS. Yeah, that's basically like what you want to do. If you're not in range, just keep throwing spells, basically.
And then whenever you Sandblast, you create this echo of yourself. Are you just casting Sandblast and it's nice that there is a copy that fires later, or do you actually cast Sandblast that don't make the most sense right now, but eventually you're going to use them for this double blast?
Yeah, I don't know if I do this game, but before we start racing, I usually just queue right in the air to just get another Sandblast going, so I can just get full base potential. I don't know if it's happened this game, but yeah, there's some situation where you do that.
That makes sense, and it's easy to kind of forget that for the longest time Chromie's Sandblast didn't hit things like the Immortal here, and we haven't really adjusted to that idea. A great time trap there, and actually framing up on it too. Before we go any further, you grabbed up the level 1 Time Walker's Pursuit, which is what I see constantly in tournament play. Would you ever go any of the other talents?
In tournament, there's no. I would always go Time Walker's Pursuit. The vision is super strong. It just gives your team so much information and just opens up the map a lot for you. And as well, the arming time for the traps gets reduced as well with this talent. So if you're ever in danger, you just put down a trap and you just can activate it really early to get yourself like an early ice block, kind of.
Oh, that's so as someone who fights Chromie, by the way, amazing bait there, by the way, on the Diablo. We gotta respect that trick, but man, this game gets chaotic later on. From the enemy side, we're like, oh, Chromie saw me. I see the Nexus symbol. I see the site. But it's easy to forget that you're gaining spell power and that time trap business. So it makes it pretty obvious why the other ones might not be as valuable. You're getting more tools for your toolbox.
Yeah, for sure. And if you keep an eye on the top lane right here, there's a time trap in the bush here that I set up before the push. So we're gonna see here a really good value of the time trap. If you can see here, Dino's positioning on the time trap, and I activate it. So we find a pick.
Oh, wow.
And I loop Murad in here, so...
Okay.
That's the strength of Chromie, I would say. If you find the time trap like that, you can just easily win a fight.
So you're basically a global hero.
Yeah.
You were having to think about while aiming spells the whole time that time trap you set up minutes ago and how important it was.
Yeah.
Time traps all activate at the same time, right? No matter how many you have out?
Yeah. You can't detonate it individually.
So
yeah.
Is this like a Hogger thing? Like, when you train on Chromie, when you think about Chromie, have you memorized every important bush? Is there like a guide online that has little circles on the map that says these are the most important Chromie bushes?
No, not really. Like the time trap I set up because we were gonna push for top lane, but then Cattle kind of got unlucky with Q timing, so he died. So no, we just stayed there, and then we were just kind of lucky that they showed down the time trap, so we got the kill.
Right, because time trap gives that tiny bit of sight that allowed you to see Sylvanas sitting there before it even happened.
Yeah.
So in the early game here, with our full temporal loop, with the rewind, we're doing a lot of targeting Muradin, which people, there's a lot of stigma about targeting tanks. Of course, you guys are tournament players, you're professionals, you're all going to target the same guy, and this is going to work out. But going into the game, when you drafted Chromie, did you know that this is going to be a temporal loop game and that Muradin would be the target, or did that develop over the course of the game?
It developed over the course. After we saw their 5 picks, we kind of looked in the loop. They don't really have any cleanses. It's rough for Brightwing to cleanse the loop, and Muradin is basically a free kill every time we loop him. We have Tychus as well that can follow up with his trait, so he can burst kind of the tank every time.
Now here, that temporal loop, Muradin wasn't currently the target. Was that more to control him so he couldn't go on you, for instance?
Yeah, it was a rough fight because Hanzo got a pretty big arrow right there, so we kind of had to peel off a bit and just peel back. So it was a defensive loop.
Going back to that level 10, lots of people believe and feel that BOE, with all of its tight corridors, is a slowing sands game 100% of the time. So you can make that distinction based on whether or not there's an enemy cleanse. Yeah,
basically. We have kind of a really good follow-up on loop, so it makes sense to pick it here. But Sans is also a really great talent. It kind of depends what the enemy team comp looks like, and yeah.
It's amazing how we're seeing your camera here too, which is something we didn't get to see from the casted side. You're so busy. You're constantly looking around, not only like at yourself, worrying about, because Chromie, this isn't the most health pool in the world. She's pretty squishy, but you've got so much to manage with those time traps, with those echoes. How did you learn Chromie in the first place? Just lots and lots of games, or was there a secret you discovered that unlocked the hero?
Well, it wasn't really my hero first, but then they kind of buffed her a lot, so I kind of had to start playing her. It took a few games, and as well, there's not really a Chromie player on our team, so I had to pick it up. So yeah, it's just a lot of games and a lot of practice on the hero.
Well, thank goodness you died so we can actually talk about some talents for a moment, because this game is crazy. So level 4, well, it's Chromie, but Time trouble. After time stop ends, enemies affected by time trap lose 15 armor. Allies gain 30 armor. Is this a go-to? Would you ever take the other ones?
No, this is basically my go-to. I think the armor is just way too strong. If you target an allied hero, it's gonna get armor. If you target an enemy, it's gonna get minus armor. So it's basically just enhancing what the time trap already does.
And something like movement speed isn't needed because you've already got your team watching out for you. You've got these time traps. You have stasis later on. And more time traps maybe don't matter here because the ones you have are good enough and in good locations in the first place.
Yeah, the only argument you could do with more time traps is if they have, like, for example, a Hansu, where you can stack on the time traps. If he arrows, you can just activate it and it flies straight through. But I still think armor is the best talent here.
Oh, that's a cool idea. Yeah, so an additional time trap. You have 2 aggressives and then 1 that's kind of for you to use for your own defense.
Yeah, exactly.
Proper Greeting is our next talent. Damaging a stunned, rooted, or slowed enemy hero grants 20% additional damage for 3 seconds. That's damage. So your auto attacks and your spells.
Yeah, everything. It's a great talent. I think it's the best one you can pick on 7. Yeah, it's basically just enhancing everything. Especially just if you have a lot of CC on your team, you can just pick it, even if you pick loop.
And with Diablo doing so much stunning, in fact, we have things like Diabolic Momentum for Diablo here, so there's a lot of stuns flying around that you're going to be framing up on in the first place. I do hear from Chromie players that they swear by the combo of chronic conditions and then getting that proper greeting because they can make their own slows. Maybe something more Storm League-y because you're not going to be guaranteeing actual CC happening around you.
Yeah. I mean, it for sure works. It's just, yeah. I don't know. I just prefer the armor talent. It's there's a lot of different CC as well. You can even if you just damaging a stunned target makes you deal extra damage for 3 seconds. So even if you just auto attack a stunned target, you're gonna get the damage bonus.
Oh, it's really easy to kind of miss out on that because we have so many talents in this game that are based on dealing damage to targets under CC. Not that you get a bonus buff for that duration. So yeah. You've got Leoric who does a swing, that's a slow, 1 auto attack, everything's enhanced. You've got Stukov that lands one of his pustules or weighted pustule, and that's... So yeah, there's a lot of slows in this game, not in addition to just a Diablo stun that might not last the 3 seconds, but here we are.
Yeah, for sure.
That makes a lot of sense. Time trap.
Yeah.
Or timeout here. 60-second cooldown. Activate to place Chromie in stasis and gain invulnerability for 5 seconds. The one I always see, any reason to go the other 2?
No, I would say this talent is a must for Chromie. Even if they don't have a lot of dive, it can be a panic button if you're caught in the wrong position. It's just super good.
Fair enough. I don't think we need to say more about timeout. We've all experienced it and seen how frustrating it is on the enemy side and how great it is for an allied Chromie. Now,
for sure.
Now here at our 15 tier is 14 tier. Wait, which tier is this?
I think it's 15. I'm always getting confused by the Chromie level.
Shifting Sands. Hitting an enemy hero with Chromie's primary Sandblast grants spell power. 8 seconds. Maximum of 50. Enemy duration refreshes this. Any reason to pick the other ones? And how are you adapting and using this now that it's been unlocked?
I'd say you go for this talent almost every time. 50 spell power in consistent fights. You're gonna probably hit 50 spell power. Which is insane, actually. You could probably make an argument to go Quantum Override, but I still prefer Shifting Sands, as it's more reliable, I'd say.
When you actually hit your spells and the ones you intend to over a long fight like what we're witnessing now, which is just madness with these X-ray flanks and all the positions that are happening.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. If in a more maybe kind of bush-based combat where we would want that pop, Quantum Overdrive makes sense. This fight isn't going to build up to the point where Shifting Sands will take over and become more powerful. But here in these long, long, wild fights, you're going to hit that. You're going to hit your Sandblast in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess we got to take a second to compliment the Brightwing Escape, which is just amazing and sad and part of this wild game. Fast forward. If Chromie's primary Sandblast travels at least 50% of its base distance and hits a hero, its cooldown is reduced. Does this have any use?
Say in ARAM it has. But no, but actually it might be good on maybe Volskaya, where you just poke down the enemies on the point. You just throw Qs every time. Maybe you eventually win the objective, but I'd say Shifting Sands is a better alternative for fast forward.
And fast forward might encourage you to not get out those auto attacks, which are part of this raw damage kit you're performing.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice defense by Banana there, getting Muradin off you. This brawl for the rest of the game is insane. I feel like we should actually everyone just go. You can enjoy the replay itself if you download it from the Discord. You can also go watch the cast of it. We'll keep talking, but it's hard not to just enjoy this chaos. For your final level, you got Stuck in a Loop. Temporal Loop teleports the target a second time. Basic ability cooldowns are much, much shorter.
Yeah, this talent is it's probably why you pick Loop in the first place. It's super strong because you can basically melt a hero by just clicking with this ability on them. Just teleporting twice. It's very annoying for the enemies. They have to blow a lot of cooldowns to just save the hero that's getting hard by Chromie. Yeah, it's so strong.
The danger with Temporal Loop always seems to be its shorter range and actually kind of getting in there to get it cast in the first place. But that's not really a concern here when you have Cattle and everybody else watching your back so closely, because you are such an important part of this team's throughput.
Yeah, and with Loop this game, we were targeting frontline every time, because it's hard for me to step up against Urel kinda still, but you know, looping a frontline is super good still. Yeah.
That's a great comment. A distinction to make, that Loop can be made all the easier if you are actually getting to target the front line, and the front line is often the one receiving those cleanse, those tanks, getting them out of those situations. So no cleanse first of all, but secondly, a front line that you actually want to kill.
Yeah, exactly. I used it here on Urel after her unstoppable. Unfortunately, we didn't get the kill, but she blew her ulti as well, so it basically did its job.
Yeah, that's something that in our home games we don't really think about much. Chunking, or just the fact that you've taken so much health, so much resource from the enemy that the healer on the enemy side can't make up for it, and now you have this advantage on health and you can actually push forward.
Yeah, exactly. And then here we're gonna see another great double loop. It's gonna give me a lot of cooldown reduction, where I basically kind of one-shot their backlines here.
Oh wow, yeah, you're just chaining. And then that chain, that cooldown reduction carries you into that Urel damage as well. So now now you're pushing forward on Chromie with very little mana. Are you making any choices or changes about how you're playing? Or what spell is priority for you?
So Q, you can probably spam Q like off cooldown here. It's just W, you have to be careful not to W. One W is 3.5 Q.
Oh wow, yeah.
Abilities, so you should just Q here and just keep your mana. It's important for the end game push here.
So with this build, maybe something like Dragon's Breath is more of a lane clear tool or a clear tool, and not so much an actual throughput damage tool.
Yeah, exactly. And there's the double loop again, another pick.
That cooldown is really short.
Yeah, it's I really like the double loop. It's very punishing.
Let's go back in time a quick moment so we can look at some of the other 20s. Any reason why you would ever do Piercing Sands or Blessing of the Bronze?
So Piercing Sands is my go-to when I pick Slowing Sands. It's really great for just if people are stuck in your sands, you're gonna get a lot of Qs, just piercing a lot of Qs on the targets. It's a lot of damage, especially with your shifting sands, level 16. Just stack up the spell damage, and yeah, it can basically carry fights, the piercing sands. As far as blessings goes, it has its place, I'd say, but I'd still think Piercing Sands is a higher priority over Blessings, and you should always pick Stuck in a Loop if you're playing with Loop.
Awesome. That's a very easy breakdown and very actionable information. There's going to be a lot of Chromies in Quick Match this weekend after watching this video. This is a very cool breakdown. Thank you for the information. Thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. It's been fun, man.
Everyone watching, be sure to like, subscribe, ring that bell here on Heroes Hearth for more Learn to Play content, as well as, of course, all the CCL content that's happening around here. Good luck to you in your future games, Azyrite. I'll see you next time.
Thanks a lot. See ya.